What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the I-Talian Stallion, for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. Tonight, we have a guest, and he's short on time, but he was grateful enough, and I'm so grateful myself to be on tonight to talk about his story, being a part of this group of guys that was behind me, the only team in West basketball history. I want you to think about that. From 1950, when the school became a school, to now, as the only district tournament champions. And that was that group behind us in 2000. And one of their players, who's a good friend of mine, is agreed to be on. So we're going to bring him on early tonight. We'll talk about, recap the game from last Friday. But without further ado, I want to hear you out there in Sequoia Hills, Westmoreland Hills and Estates. I also want to hear you out in Mechanicsville, down Western Avenue, up to Bearden, down West Hills, all the areas that support Marble City West High School Runnin Rebels. My co-host, my brother from another mother, Mr. West 2003, and the voice of the Runnin Rebels and Lady Rebels for 18 plus years. Let's bring him on, Mr. Two-Pair Tate, Brian Tate. What's up, brother?
Going on? What's happening? What's up? What's up, man? How you doing?
Brother, you know why I'm good? I'm good because I'm here with you. This is my favorite part of the week, man. And the fact that we're doing it on a Tuesday night because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. But you know, it's awesome just to spend this time with you and the Rebel family. Rebels with a cause, baby. Shout out to anybody. So yes.
Yeah, man, most definitely. Tonight we got a really special guest. This dude, he kind of helped me make the team. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first got to West, this dude, I just remember him hitting a 3-pointer at one of the games before I came to West. I was still in the 8th grade and doing like this after he hit a 3. And that's why I was like, oh, I got to come to West. Like, I want to play with that guy.
Yeah.
If that guy's having that much fun to do that, I want to play with him. I want to learn everything I can from him. And he was one of the guys that was truly a big brother for me on the basketball team, because I got to play my freshman year. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I started out not getting any tick to getting lots of tick, and then you see the progression.
Yeah. Well, this guy's special to me because we became friends after he graduated from West. We worked together at the Winsong 16 movie theater, rest in peace, that went out last year. But we had so many fun conversations, lots of laughs with the people that worked together. And without further ado, I know he's short on time, so I want to bring him on so he can share the stories about this team behind me. We were talking a little off camera before you got on here, but I can't thank him enough for being on here. So without further ado, I'm going to give him a Rebels with a Cause introduction here, okay?
Yeah, and you know, we got to ask him the question. We got to ask him the question.
Hey, listen, I got my questions right here.
You
So
know the first question we got to ask.
Exactly, and I'm going to let you ask it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's for you to ask, honestly. But without further ado, he was a member of the 2000 District Basketball Tournament Champions, class of 2000. Learn something else, that he wasn't a 4-year guy, but it doesn't matter. He's a Rebel for life. He was known by his peers there in the halls as White Mike. At Winsong Movie Theater, he was known as Big Mike. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's give him a warm Rebels with a Cause welcome, Mr. Michael Morrow.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Hey,
I didn't realize there were back-end questions now. I see we've got some trick questions coming away. All right.
No. It's a question we ask everybody.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Now I've seen the show, but I don't even know the question. So let's hear it.
So, Mike, who was the first person to bust your ass on that basketball court?
Okay. You talking about like teammate in practice, or are we talking about in a game?
Who was the dude that you was just like?
I mean,
Okay.
if I have to think back in the entirety of my time playing at West, you know, Stan Davis at Farragut was a tough dude, huge guy, like 6'6", 6'7".
6'6". Yep.
People forget how nice Stan was.
Stan could play. That was a good Farragut team. But Bearden, Winston Robinson was tough. But I guess I've got a fair and good bust your ass one here. And I like it because it's a game that we won in the district to get into that championship. I don't know if y'all remember Brad Hilscher, who was a linebacker at the University of Tennessee, played for Maryville.
Okay.
And
Okay.
right towards tie, I think that was his name, right towards tight at the end, I took a charge from him, got the call, but my God, like we're talking freight trained my ass to the ground. I was having back troubles my senior year. James and I were talking about that. And I got up and I felt the fire in my back. I looked at Coach Lindsay and he just turned around like, you're not coming out. None of that's on.
How much were you weighing at the time? Because no offense, I mean, you were tall and, lanky.
I was not weighing a lot, James. I mean, not enough, that's for sure, to be hit by a dude that went on to play at UT. But no, I think those Bearden teams were tough. BT, man, Gerald Hampton was an incredible basketball player.
Forget about G.
All the guys over at AE, that was a tough group. I mean, I feel like they were number one in the state for a little while. They blasted us at West. I feel like, James, that might have been when we lost the privileges of picking the music before the game. That might have been the one that did
tell
that
story, because before the game, he was talking about that they really, this group, this picture behind me that hangs so proudly when you walk into the gym there, literally faced adversity, and that's like just one of the stories to talk about. I guess that was the game. So the floor is yours, Big Mike. Tell us about that one. So
yeah, and I think one of the things that I think is important to reflect on about West, and Brian kind of talked about it there in the beginning. It was that family nature of older players bringing younger players along, and so when Brian was talking about me and Troy and some of those guys, Scott Oderson and Brian Durrell and Dietrich Elder and those guys were really important to my development at West, and understanding the culture and all of that. So for us, when the adversity hit, we were still okay, but we had a lot of injuries that year, and they came quick. We had a great start. I remember, we won several games right out of the gate, but then we just hit a skid. We had a lot of injuries. I know Mike Maddox battled issues with his ankles all the time. Alton did too, and Spencer, me, Tom Carmichael, all of us were kind of in injury land. Later in the season, Stephen Harmon, I don't remember what, he had to have surgery, I believe, on his knee. Jordan was out for a while, but yeah, I mean, we hit a skid, and Brian knows this. The practices at West were epic and difficult, and everything involved endless running, because if you recall, I was the tallest dude on that team, and yes, I'm tall, but at 6'4", when you're playing in a league with dudes that are 6'8", it's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
And so we had to spread people out, and we had to run them to death. We pressed endlessly, and you had to be in excellent shape. I mean, there was like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And there were practices where balls didn't come out on the court. We're running. And so when we hit that adversity, I just remember, that was right when Outkast had put out Rosa Parks. We were coming out to that. We were loving it. We're having a blast. We hit that skid. Coach wasn't happy with how we were practicing. He was not happy with how we were playing. And y'all know Coach Lindsay. I mean, he's an incredible guy. But he was fed up with it, man, and he was like, "I'm gonna start taking things out of here on y'all." And he changed up the opening game, the warm up tracks, and we were hitting out there to Little Red Corvette by Prince, and which now as an adult I'm down with, but in high school you're not trying to warm up to that, trying to hear the best possible thing to get you hyped up. I don't remember how long that lasted, but man, it was fun.
I know that there was a Wild Wild West was popular at the time too because of Will Smith and the movie that had come out summer of '99 before then. So that was another one I know you guys came out to one time or two.
Yeah, I feel like that probably got
horrible. I hated that time. I was like, dude, I had like 6 a.m. practices that year, and freshmen got to go to the varsity games free. So I'm at every varsity game just like, okay, I'm picking and choosing where you can fit in like once this roster moves. Because Mike, you're one of the first dudes that were like a real stretch forward. You and Clark Bowling, like real stretch forward.
Yeah, Clark could shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that for me that was a lot of in AAU. I mean, I was playing with a cat. I can't remember his name from Morristown West, but he was 7'1". Torrey Morris, who played at Clinton, and he went. We call him Tree, and Tree went on and played at Pitt. We played AAU together. I mean, Torrey was 6'11" probably. So I was a shooting guard in AAU, and at Catholic I was playing small forward ish. And so, I mean, I could handle the ball. I was perfectly comfortable running the front of a press. And so being undersized in the public school leagues, it worked fine for us. I really worked hard on my free throw game. I led the KIL that year in free throw percentage because I knew if I could get to the cup, I'm gonna go to the line because these dudes, I mean, we can get fouls on a big Winston Robinson, right? Because he doesn't want to come out there with me. And so a lot of our plays were very much, I mean, you probably remember this, Brian. I roamed around on the baseline and shot a lot of corner threes.
Maryland, Utah.
Yeah. And what was important about that too is we had such good slashers,
Yeah.
Alton could get to the basket easily. Spencer could get to the basket easily. Michael was a very good penetration player. So we were.
Troy was on that team too. Troy Mapp, right? So
well, and you want to talk about somebody that was vicious actually in the post. Troy was just stronger than everybody else. You know what I mean?
Like the Dennis Rodman. Like he didn't have the height, but he just went after rebounds. So.
I'll tell you what I used to love about Troy Mapp. Man, it was hard to slap the backboard at that time in 2000 or so. Everybody's trying to slap the backboard as hard as possible. Man, Mapp would blast that backboard. Sometimes I thought it was going to shoot the ball off. Like, don't do that, man. But that dude was strong. He could lay his butt in somebody and push them 2 feet back.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were tough. We were hard-nosed. We were down to run you to death. I mean, we wanted to do that.
You guys really were the Runnin Rebels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Stu was a great backup point guard that year.
Childress.
Yeah, man. Bubba would come in. I mean, you need a timely 3, man. Bubba Chuck, man. He'd get it up.
He chucking it, too.
Hey, that kid could shoot, man. Chris Childress had a beautiful jumper. I mean,
I forgot about Chris Childress too. Yeah, that's right.
Great shooter. Another great teammate. Somebody that probably played somewhere else. He got more run. I mean, but he played his role and he was damn good at it.
Chris Childress was nice in his role.
Yeah.
Mike, I have a question for you guys. Like, so obviously West right now is kings of football. You know what I mean? Right now in 5A and so forth. And basketball has had a couple of special seasons along the way. I want to talk about your group from the standpoint that did you guys know that, obviously what was special is you were coming up on that 50th anniversary of West being a school, and so the fact that you guys had never won a district tournament title, I mean, that kind of baffles me just because of the athletes that have come through there. And yet you guys, this team, put it together with that adversity. I mean, did you guys ever have that conversation before going into it? Like, we want to be that first team. Did Coach even mention that? Because obviously his history with the school.
I don't think so. I think, Coach Lindsey and Coach Petco were smart about the types of pressure they put on you. So I don't remember conversations like that. I think we were probably cognizant of it just because, it's the year 2000. That was kind of a weird year, right? We thought the computers were going to take us over or something, when the ball dropped. But to me, no, I don't. We never really got going on that. It was more about, again, that they believed very heavily in the family aspect of this thing and tight together. I remember listening to Terry Maples talking about y'all walking over to James Food Mart before football games, I assume. But I mean, we were doing that in basketball too, right? Going over there, getting chili dogs and stuff you're not supposed to eat, but in high school, you can do that.
Hey, that's all you can afford, man. we were broke.
But no, I mean, I think once we got going on that run towards the end of the season, there was certainly a point there where we were having conversations about, we've hit our stride. Everybody's kind of feeling healthy again, and there were conversations about the opportunity to do things maybe that we hadn't done. But I don't really remember Coach talking about us never winning the district and things like that. And to be honest with you, it's still sort of a surprise to me when you think back on some of the teams that West had at the time and some of the players that we were all awfully blessed to get to watch. I mean, I know Big O talked about Marlon Bustle, but I don't know if y'all got to watch that or not. But Marlon Bustle did stuff that didn't make sense, and there were times where Brian Durrell did Marlon Bustle type stuff, there were players and teams that, to me, I still can't believe there wasn't a district championship littered in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we were a tight group. We were all friends. I'm still friends with a lot of those guys. I don't talk to them as much as I'd surely would like to, but we cared about each other. And I think when you're in a tough, adversity-filled season, I know I mentioned Coach Petco's mother passed away in the middle of the season. We'd had Coach Lindsey's pops had fallen ill and I believe passed away the year before. So there was just a lot of stuff there that, to me, kind of motivated us to make sure that we were doing everything we could for the coaches that cared so much for us. I mean, I was thinking about how, Coach Petco would tutor us in math, man. Like, we had a whole bunch of math dummies on that team. And before practice, we're sitting in there in the gym getting in some geometry, and Coach P, I don't know if he's still doing it, man. I taught for several years after college, and then I was a supervisor in Knox County, and Coach Petco was like over all of math. And so I
think he still is. No, he still is.
See Coach Petco all the time, but like principal meetings and stuff. And it's just good to see him, It's like a father figure in your life that truly cared about you. I think about those bus trips and stuff out to Maryville and William Blount and those places, man. It's just good times, man.
Just to show us our age now, all of us, since we're all in that age range or whatever. Coach Petco's daughter was on sophomore homecoming court, by the way, this past year for the homecoming game, and he was there, proud papa, obviously. And I saw him. We saw him Friday Central. He came to the game and shook our hand, two pair, you and me, and so forth. And just a great guy. Just what you see is what you get with that guy. And always wanted to make sure even though I wasn't a basketball player, he made sure to tutor me because I struggled in math being a football guy. I mean, geometry was my worst subject. So.
It was all of us probably, man. It's just tough.
Two-pair, what else you got for Big Mike, honestly? Because I know we got it for a little bit, but I don't want to keep him. So
hey, I'm okay. I'm enjoying it, man. There's nothing better than talking about basketball. I mean, I'm still obsessed with it, man.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I just remember, like, in the district and then in the region, can you talk about, like, what was it like going through the district and then the region games. Like, just talk about that whole experience, because I know that district you was playing some of your best basketball. Like, you were you when she started doing the Superman.
I'll tell you, Brian, I mean, one of the things I think about me on that team, I wasn't the most talented, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, but I was a good leader. I was a good vocal leader. I think I did a lot of things that were that maybe slide under the radar that you don't see. I mean, I'm still am and was a trash talker. One of my very favorite things to do was to mess with those big dudes that were guarding me. You know, talk about, man, I can't wait to get you winded by the third quarter because there's no way your fat ass can keep up with me. You know, and I'm not fast. You know, but I mean, I'm just messing with people. I mean, anything you can do to get an advantage. I think once we got into the district, we were on such a ride there. I mean, we'd probably won 4, 5, 6 games in a row. You know, Lindsay and Petco were coaching good, right? There was, the practices were good. And I think we all felt really good. I feel like that was a time when Alton was playing some of his best basketball.
Yeah, it was.
And Spencer was playing great basketball and really running the team, you know, true point guard, really in charge of things. And I just think, you know, the unit and the guys that were coming in off the bench were playing really good basketball. Now, the district games, I recall, I don't remember who we played first, but then it was Maryville, who was the top seed, and we got them. I want to say we played South Doyle because I remember
it was South Doyle.
Did y'all play Bearden in the district?
We didn't play Bearden in the district. No, I don't know what happened to them.
They got eliminated on the other side, if I remember correctly, okay. And it kind of opened up for West in that bracket because they had to beat Maryville, which was the top seed, which they ultimately did. But you would have thought Bearden was going to be waiting for them on the other side, but it wasn't Bearden. Was it Farragut that was waiting for you guys?
It was Sevier County, I think.
Okay.
P.J. Burden. Who? P.J. Burden. I couldn't stand P.J. He was killing us.
Listen, and you know, I remember both those games being super tight. And going into regions, that was at Farragut. I remember that because we were down in the basement in the girls' locker room. And I just remember being, you know, excited about being at the, you know, we were talking about that I wasn't a West guy for all 4 years. So I was zoned to go to Farragut. Now my mother's house is in the Bearden zone. But at the time, you know, Hardin Valley and all that stuff wasn't around. And so the zones were a little bit larger. But she's, you know, we're definitely, well, my mother is a lot closer to Bearden. But I couldn't go to Farragut. It was not who I was. I knew some people at West and really wanted to be there. So it felt really nice too to be in Farragut and having that opportunity to play on that court with my guys and be in that semifinal. We lost, I feel like, to Sevier County in the last minute. I'll never, you know, remember what happened. I know a pass got stolen and a layup got made, and that was all she wrote.
But that was in the region, right? That was the region.
That was the region. Yeah. In the district, it was almost the reversal because I feel like that was Sevier County too. And we beat them in the district and lost to them in the region. But, you know, I could have teams wrong.
That would make sense because the top 4 teams go just based on and then you have to play the other side. And so that makes sense. So,
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Yeah. And again, I mean, you know, great basketball games, tight basketball games. You know, so all props to them for getting us. But we definitely went into that region. I mean, I remember the confidence was extremely high and we were feeling great. I mean, we were and I think we played a good basketball game. We just didn't get it. I'll tell you, as great as it was to win the district, losing in the region with the chance, if you had won that game, you'd have gone to state. That's the hard part, man. That is the hard part.
You know, one thing I want to say about not only you talk about the senior leadership, like what you provided. I would say that about, Mike Maddox as well. And
Oh,
so
God,
forth.
yeah.
I mean, like,
Tell them how nice Mike Maddox
Yo,
a lot of people never got to see Mike
No,
Maddox play. He was.
I don't know, Mike. Mike, I don't know if you remember this. So before we go into conditioning, me, you, you and Troy.
Troy and I spent a lot of time together, man, in my tiny Toyota Camry, man. We hung out a lot.
Right. I know this is a true story. Stewart, Michael Maddox, and Todd Love. We go hoop at his house. He hurts his ankle.
Oh, I do remember this.
You remember this. So he hurts his ankle and he didn't have his ankle braces on. This is the first time I played with Maddox.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm trying to get every rebound just to let these dudes know, like, hey, man, I'm coming in one more year. Give me one more year with y'all. But I'm like, damn, they seniors. And Maddox hurts his ankle like right before conditioning. And that's what, like, people don't realize how good Michael Maddox.
And Mike was good at everything. He was one of those dudes, man. Like Michael was like a beast tennis player. I believe he was a really good swimmer. But on the basketball floor, Mike was a quiet leader. He wasn't, a loud guy. He let his game talk for him. If you go back and look at pictures too of Michael, man, that guy was in an adult body. Like he was a big dude.
He had developed arms, honestly.
Yeah, and he could bully ball people.
Yeah.
He had a good jumper, but man, Mike could take it to the basket, and he'd get up in your business, and he was tough. And I think too, it wasn't just senior leadership. Like Alton was a good leader. You know what I mean? Troy was a good leader. Chris Childress was a good leader. It was a team of leaders. You know what I mean? For sure.
Shout out to my man, Kerry, who was an SRO officer over at Bearden and so forth. And right now, he wanted to link to the show and so forth. And he does the scoreboard up in the press box with me, part of the support staff for the Rebels football team. So shout out to my guy, Kerry. But he's tuned in and wanted to show what he said there. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. I like that you guys have the chat box cooking down there too.
And anybody can contribute. I don't want anybody to be shy, whether it's live or recorded. I mean, and they got our email address. If they got questions, they can ask. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, I like that Kerry brought up Bearden then, because I heard Big O was talking about how he had never beaten Bearden except for the Bustle game, when one of the string of 50-point games that he put up. Because we were lucky enough to, well, I shouldn't say lucky. We beat Bearden too, and it was, I'll never forget wondering, it was homecoming. How do you schedule the homecoming game to be Bearden, right? Like, that's a hard game, and you want to win the homecoming game. And we had lost to them in their place, and talk about a hard place to play.
That is,
you think about atmosphere in high school basketball. A lot of times it's not, it doesn't have that same feel to it. But I'll tell you, man, coming to play at West was not an easy deal. We had a vicious crowd. I don't know if y'all remember Adam Wink. Dude would run up and down the sidelines in the tights.
Yes, with
and he
the
had the little placard on that
and
says
his flag, and
Ryder was right after him.
And Ryder was after him, was after Adam. Yeah.
I mean, and Adam spiced that thing up, man. I mean, it hyped us up, to get that crowd rocking. And I remember we were talking about that Bearden game. They were tough, Gerald Hampton, like I said, is one of the best basketball players I've ever played against. I mean, that young man had a lot of skill and could just get it done.
Like he was Anton Walker.
I mean, he really had that kind of game. Yeah. Real. He could get to the cup. It was sort of slow, but I'll be damned if it wasn't. It was hard to stop, and he could shoot, man.
I'm going to tell you this, and you don't remember the game, Big Mike, because I think you said that you were more on the bench that junior year of yours or
Oh
what have
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Well, that
You
was a
know, a lot
great
of
team
people don't
too.
remember this. When I was at Bearden that year, they were excellent. I mean, they had 7 seniors. Rusty Strange was on that team. Ian Andreessen, Brandon McCormick, who also played football as well. And they also had Brad Kelton. I forget who the other 3 guys were, but in the mix of those 7 seniors, as Coach Blevins called them, the Magnificent 7, was a sophomore Gerald Hampton and a freshman Winston Robinson, who were getting burned. And even Alex Oliver was a point guard, true freshman on that team. They were undefeated. They go to West, and you guys somehow play keep away and have 2 more points than them and beat them 39-37. And
So
it
to
left a
me,
bad
that's
taste in their mouth.
coaching. You know, Lindsey would have done something there to get those guys in the place to win that game, and that was again, you know, those guys are great. They were great coaches, and it seems like, you know, the coaching staff in basketball at West is looking good again. I took some time tonight to watch a few of the games and was feeling great about, you know, the direction of the team and what I was seeing on the court. I definitely, you know, am happy to see the success continue. And Brian, man, I'm loving all that shouting over there. You even make the away team feel good, man.
That's right. That's right.
So I thought that was what's up. But no, look, man, beating Bearden at home was great that year for homecoming. That felt good. They were a hard win because I don't think they beat us up pretty bad at home at their place. But I was telling James, man, I remember the game vividly because Alex Oliver got a breakaway steal, went up to dunk it, and hit the front of the rim and flipped over. And as much as, you know, you dislike, you know, the guys on the other team, especially a rival like Bearden, man, like we were scared for Alex. You know, we were worried that he was actually hurt because, I mean, he rolled over on that neck, man, and it was ugly.
It's crazy you say that. I'm sitting next to Darius Jones, and they catch us on TV because we were like, he missed the dunk, and we all are all doing this. Y'all remember the show Inside Perspective?
Inside Perspective, community television with Jerome Taylor. Who could
I do
forget?
remember this.
So,
Yeah.
I prayed every night Wes was gonna get on Inside Perspective. Every time I'm like, oh, I think we made Inside Perspective. We did. Yeah. Oh my God. I miss that show.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. The one time I remember he'd have guests on there. I remember he had Alan Wallace and Tommy Winton, the super softs for West one time. I mean, honestly, that's a big deal back then. And then they'd show some of the games on community television.
Well, that was on what, like Channel 2 or
It
whatever?
was Channel 12 if you
Channel
were
12 at your house? Yeah.
script soured before it became
Like
Comcast.
now,
So, yeah.
we're the new Inside Perspective now because it's like we're giving that host perspective about like West basketball and some of those teams you had to play against. Like, who probably was like your toughest matchup during that senior run? Who was the guy that you was like, I'm gonna try to get to the line at least 5 times tonight?
You know, so I'll say probably the toughest person to try and be a post player, which, you know, obviously I wasn't much of a post player, but a guy, you know, when you have to get down there defensively and deal with it, and you have to offensively try and get yourself in there. Do you remember, in addition to Stan Davis and the Jaeger kid at Farragut, they had big Tyson Claybo, who ended up in the NFL. And he was like 6'10", 375 pounds, and he could move, man.
He could move. Everybody, I forgot about Tyson Claybo playing basketball because everybody remembers him playing football and going to Wake Forest. So,
and he was a good basketball player. I mean, but you want to talk about somebody that I really messed with that guy. I mean, I'd poke him in the stomach and say crazy stuff to that guy. And I loved dragging him out to the 3-point line. Because, you know, for us offensively, if I can get that big boy out there and hit a couple threes, then that means Alton and Troy and Mike and Spence have free reign in the lane. You know what I mean? And so that, you know, a big part of our deal was just how can we get them out of there? Because I mean, the league had a lot of big boys at that time. You know, you had Hilscher at Maryville and Claybo and Davis at Farragut, and Winston Robinson was a beast at Bearden. I mean, I didn't love playing Winston either, but I shouldn't say that. I was competitive, and I liked playing guys that were good. I mean, I was up for that. I was always up for that, and I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, Brian, when you talk about me being animated on the court, I mean, I loved playing basketball at West. It was everything to me. I mean, I loved it. Loved every moment on that floor.
You love it, for real.
I mean, I hope I made several people at least enjoy it. I mean, look, man, I was goofy then and I'm goofy still. It was fun. You know, I mean, it was just a lot of fun to play that style of basketball that now is so prevalent, you know, to run and shoot lots of threes and try and get you know, cutting going. You know, we had a fun, good thing going at that time for sure.
It's a shame that those games aren't archived. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you could go back and show your kids. You know, that's the thing now. If you think about it, like the guys that are going through high school now, in a few years can go back and show their kids like, hey, look at what dad did, you know, or look what mom did, and so forth. And
Big O mentioned this, man. We didn't have the internet, you know what I mean? And like the only sort of opportunity you had to go to college or do something after was really if you were in the AAU circuit. Or like he was talking about with football, you had to send a VHS tape in for somebody to catch
over the shoulder big cam crap.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that was the reality at the time, and I think I remember after the district win, it was like the TV people, and we thought that was dope. Like, you know, I remember answering a question for the news, you know, and like, oh man, the news was here, you know, but I don't even remember seeing many clips of the games on the local news either, like they have now, and so yeah, you're right. I mean, that is a tough thing. My daughter is 10, and we were looking at the West yearbook earlier today, and she said, "Let me see your picture," and she just laughed and laughed and laughed at me, man. You know, but the memories are good and the times are good, and I, you know, I would never want to replace the chance to play at West and to go to West. I thought, you know, West was an exceptional school. A lot of what I did at West off the court has led me to where I'm at today, you know, in what I do. And so I owe a lot to the school in general, you know, and
that's what this show's all about, you know, Mike. And, you know, we call it Rebels with a Cause. And the thing that Two-Pair and I have always stressed to, you know, not only the old athletes or, you know, the guys that or the guys and gals that are currently in school, it doesn't stop being a rebel with a cause when that final, you know, clock hits zero. You know, what happens after you walk across the stage? You're still a rebel with a cause. So if you don't mind, brother, talk to us. What are you doing nowadays and so forth?
Yeah, man. So I left West and I got a degree in teaching and special ed. So probably some people that, you know, I was a quiet kid in school. I wasn't so quiet on the court, but I was a little less boisterous, I guess, in school. And after I transferred from Catholic, I had a few extra credits. I was a little bit ahead, so I was able to take peer tutoring all the time. And so I was in there at the time was Miss Gonzalez. Miss Pittman now, Michelle Pittman, was the special ed teacher. So I did a lot of peer tutoring and a lot of Special Olympics. I spent a lot of time in that space, and it really grew on me. And so I got my undergrad and master's in special education. I taught at Farragut for several years, and then I moved up and worked in the school district at the district level. So I supervised several schools and programs, and then I got an offer to work over at UT and work on my PhD. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm actually finishing my doctoral degree in special education. I focus primarily in the world of autism and intellectual disabilities. I do a lot of stuff with like technology, augmented reality, that sort of thing, to teach independent living skills and job skills and that sort of stuff for folks that are moving on from high school and trying to keep progressing, keep learning. And so that's what I'm up to. do educational and behavioral consulting, and my job is technically with Vanderbilt, but my home base is here in Knoxville. So I need to get over there to West and catch a game. Is they still got the big pictures out there? We still up there on that wall?
You're still up there. You're still up there. I mean, that's where I got this one. And look, if you look over my shoulder, the audience at home, that is the man himself holding the trophy or the little plaque that they give you as district tournament champions. And that is the only one. And I was going to ask you, and it's going to be awesome when we bring you on again in the future. We can call you Dr. Mike, which will be even more Dr. Morrow. So that's awesome.
Let's hope so. Maybe.
Hey, it's going to happen. You're a rebel with a cause.
Dr. Morrow. I will say this. Mike and Stewart, once I knew Mike loved hip hop, oh man, like his influence on me on hip hop changed me too.
Hey, I put some stuff up. I've been a record collector since a middle schooler.
Look at that.
Well, I threw some stuff up there just for Tate. So we got some low end theory up there. I got some Far Side up there for you. Some Goody Mob.
Because it's like that's why I played so well with you on the court. It was just like it was so easy to play off of you.
Man, I'm still so into like the jazz influenced hip hop,
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's just something about that sound. And we still listen to you on the edutainment hip hop show. I don't know if you even call it that anymore, but man, in the day we were listening to that all the time. And my wife and I had season tickets for a while when you were doing the stuff at UT. Man, I loved seeing you down there. That was like you encapsulated in the element, man, at all times. And I remember you walked up the stairs one time just close enough to us that I could holler at you. And that's one of the last times I've seen you, I feel like, was at a game like ages ago.
Gosh, yeah, man, I'm still kicking, man.
Yeah. If you're in town next week and this thing goes the way that I'm predicting, because I really believe in this team. They're fun to watch. They've had some heartbreakers. One thing, Mike, since you've been listening to the shows, me and Two Pair have been harping on it. When Snowmageddon happened and, obviously you couldn't do nothing. You shut this down. Yeah. You played like an insane amount of games in like a 13, 14-day window. And now you're going into a tournament setting where it's win or go home. So they have really faced the adversity. And this district is a bloodbath where anybody can get hot.
Yeah, I watched about, I guess maybe like 4 or 5 games tonight, just kind of fast forwarding through to get a feel for the players a little bit. I'd watched a couple way earlier in the season that I don't know were a good translation of who they are now. Teams evolve and they grow. I like what I see out there. They got a couple really, really, really talented players that I like the offense that I'm seeing, some good cutting, some good work on his own. The big boy, I love
Kevin
that.
Jackson. Yeah.
Is it 23? Yeah, man, he's hunting blocks. I'd love to. Boy, I can just hear Coach Lindsay yell at that young man to get that foot on the baseline, shut the baseline down and stop looking for a block. But, hey, man, that kid can play. He can move out there, and there's just they look like they're a good team. It'll be interesting to see who they get because what they're going to get the winner of Bearden and Farragut, right?
Yeah, and truth be told, we had that show a couple of weeks ago where it was the first sweep by West over Bearden since 2012. I don't think we've ever beaten them three in a row, so that would be even harder to do.
Hey, knock on some wood real quick.
Yeah, I got it right here. So, but then on the other side, you've got a Farragut team with the Von Ackers who shoot the lights out of the gym, who their one win in the district was against us, and it's like that ain't an easy 6 seed. You know what I mean? Usually you get like a lower seed or whatever, but man.
Yeah. Who's the top dog?
Maryville beat West a couple times, and they're actually the host of the district tournament. And
of course they are.
But the thing is, to be fair, they're going to have a tough William Blunt team waiting for them who really should have beaten them. They fouled them at the end that allowed the game to go to overtime. And so I know William Blunt's licking their chops to get another shot at Maryville because they've lost 2 heartbreakers to them themselves. So,
so the game on Friday would be at Maryville.
Yeah. So basically, and I've heard the times different. Like Twitter for Rebels Hoops. Shout out to them. They put the tournament out there. I believe that Maryville would play William Blunt when William Blunt beats Hardin Valley at 6:00. We're the 7:30 game against the winner of Beard and Farragut, and then whoever wins that game will play at 7:30 on the following Tuesday, with the third place game being the loser of those two games at 6:00. That's what I was told. So all games are at Maryville. So
Now you two are going to all these games, right?
well, I've been trying. I've been trying to go to him. He's announcing. He's working. I'm taking notes in the stands. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah.
I think if the games, so if they're at West, I would be announcing. Like a lot of road games. The only road game that I got to really watch them was Austin East.
Yeah.
And they gave Austin East a 30 ball. Yeah, like and Austin East has played a lot better since then. They were coming off a loss to Oak Ridge.
Yeah, no, Oak Ridge is always tough, man. Those
Oak Ridge, excuse me, they beat Oak Ridge, and then they had to see us like a day after. And they didn't want.
Oh, was that part of the snow insanity?
That's before the snow insanity.
Yeah, it's the end of the December. So we're kind of going into Christmas break type of thing, you know, where you're got finals and all that stuff. So, but I'll tell you this though, this team matches up well if the refs let them play. If they're going to call it ticky-tack or what have you, and you can't get into a flow, because Two Pair's been saying space and pace, and it all starts with the point guard, Jalen Thrill Hill. And he literally, like last game, he only had 1 point, but the way he was finding his guys with the assists. I mean,
it was longer hair. Tate.
Yes, yeah. Number one, I think he's number one. Yeah, and then Reese, number three, who was just been unconscious. You talk about a guy that's really turned it on. I mean, he had 20 points Friday night against Central. I mean, they blew Central off the court by 35 points, and everybody scored in that game, even some of the young guys, right? Two Pair. I mean,
I am a fan of Kalu Fofana,
the Prince
of Zamunda. This young kid is gonna be, if he sticks with what he's doing as a freshman to get varsity time. Yeah, I like Kalu Fofana. And what I will say is Robert Schuler out of his sophomore class, and Dupree. What more can you say about Joe Dupree?
Oh, man, he was
Dupree gets for shots, he really stretches the floor for West. But Devin Martin is right now. Devin Martin's got to understand he's the best player in the city. He's one of the best players in the city. He's just got to show it. He's got to show it every night because he is. Guys.
The scary thing, Big Mike, is the fact that they're all juniors and sophomores. I mean, you know, they have two seniors, Dane and Hunter, who are great. They contribute, but the majority of this team is coming back next year, and that's why it would be a crime that, you know, if they don't do anything next year. But I'm like, the heck with it. Let's do it this year, man. Roll with it. Get to state and see what you can do, because no offense to the other teams on this side of the district, I mean, the Beardens, the Maryvilles, the William Blunts, this is a bloodbath on this side. And no offense to Oak Ridge, they've had to go through their schedule. But other than Oak Ridge, Powell doesn't scare me. Wes has already taken care of Central twice handily, as well as Halls in a tournament. Carnes is Carnes. I mean, I just do not. I mean, no offense to them. I just think that if this West team is allowed to play and plays to their capability, and we didn't even mention Garrett Birch, who's also from the law firm of Three. These guys are just unbelievable. And you just get them out there, space and pace. How can you stop them? Big boys inside, Eaton. The 3-point shots going in, even Reese Clark, and then the athleticism of Malik Thomas and Chris Cowan coming off the bench. I mean, they could go 12 deep if they really, really want to. And it's really about, you know, how they manage those minutes and how that game tightens up and how it's called in a tournament setting. That's the thing. But they've got the legs to go far if, you know, if it comes together.
Malik Wilson.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Cowan. I think Christopher Cowan has been he's been the spark plug for that bench unit. Like, he's truly been that spark plug off that second unit. He plays the 3-point shot against Bearden is going to be talked about for years to come.
It's the game winner. Yeah.
Now, where are the regions at?
Okay, so the regions, I've got that for you. Hold on one second, because again, shout out to the Rebel Twitter, Rebel
Yeah,
Hoops Twitter.
Twitter page
They
go
posted it. So
like they don't miss. They'll tell you all the stats. I'm like, man, I can't find them on Max Preps, but that Rebels Twitter page is never lets you down.
Hey,
yeah,
man,
they're the ones
you
that
gotta
always
love it.
got
You got a YouTube channel, you got a Twitter handle cooking. I mean, this is fantastic. You know,
You can't get on
I
no
wish this
Max
stuff was done.
Preps.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I was looking for some information on the current team, and like it's hard to. I would think Max Preps has like 75 dudes listed, and I'm like,
Yeah,
who the
that's
hell are those people?
yeah. If you want the information, come to us because we become the unofficial keepers of all this
Hey, that's
information.
good. I'm proud of y'all.
So to answer your question, obviously they seed everybody based on how you do in the districts. But if West gets either to that championship game, let's say against a Maryville or a William Blunt, wins or loses, they would have a home game. So the home game, so West would have the first home game. In odd years, they claim that the highest District 3 team would host those next two games. But since it's an even year, the highest District 4 would host, and I believe we're in District 4. So basically, we would if it's up for West. If West goes on this run, we could potentially host all three rounds and win a region championship at West if it all goes according to plan.
Wow, that would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Yep, and it would culminate Thursday night, a week from like a couple of Thursdays, 2 weeks from 2 days from now in the region championship. That's when it would be played. So
Man, I hope they get it. You know, I hope they get it. That
they're
would be
due. They're due. I mean, and like I said, they've got two pair was the one that kind of brought their attention to me, and of course I'm on the football side of things, but I was like, man, why can't West be good in all the sports? Our girls team unfortunately had a rough year this year. They lost tonight. 58-14 to Maryville in the first round of the district. So their season ends winless. But I encourage all those girls to come back. I think they only lose two seniors, two pair. And let me ask you this: shout out to those two seniors. They both got all district. They announced the all district teams, and I want to give a shout out to both those gals because they really played hard and never gave up. Through injuries, through everything, and shout out to them for getting all district. And obviously Devin Martin. Jalen Hill and Reese Clark getting all district with Kevin Jack, Big Boy 23, like you were saying. Big Mike, he actually got honorable mention. So he didn't quite make the all district team, but he was an honorable mention. But the fact that four of your five starters were on that district, basically mentioned in an all district setting, is incredible. It's just absolutely.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
You love to see it. Love to see it, man.
Well, any advice for them real quick, if any of them are watching, as they're preparing, the thing is that whether it's Bearden or Farragut, you play whoever, you just got to play in front of you. I mean, what is some advice that you give to little brothers here that hopefully can join you up there with their picture hung on the wall?
Yeah, man, I think it's play your game. I think it's don't stray from what's been working. You're talking about they're kind of a team that's physical. And if the refs get involved, keep your cool, keep playing physical, and ride the wave, man. Sometimes games shift, right? First into second quarter, we see what happens if the refs keep calling a lot of calls, then tone it down. But yeah, I mean, do what got you the second seed in this tournament because you're doing something right if you get yourself to that point. So, my advice always in basketball is don't stray from your game. Play the game, listen to your coach, follow the game plan. You know what I mean? Don't just don't walk away from what got you there. Don't change who you are. Don't change the game you're playing. That's what it's about. To be the second seed in the district tournament means you've done a lot right in a very difficult public school league. I mean, it's not as if every night you're walking out there playing. These guys have gone through some adversity of their own. So I think, too, taking that stuff into account and remembering, hey man, we got through a snowpocalypse here where we're playing, back to back to back to back to backs, remember what got you through that too. Because I think when you harness the energy of adversity and get it out on the court and let that intensity that's been built up to that moment, I know those guys are going to be nervous in the locker room, but when the ball tips, baby, it's roll. It's time to win the district and go get it. Yeah, get yourself a great big picture in the hallway down there by where Coach Lindsay used to teach down there. At the
There
end
it is. There it is, right behind me. I'm pointing to the man holding that trophy right there, and that's a very special group. And you all were so much fun to watch back then. That's why I wish that they had been archived games, because I'd love to go back and just watch them and so forth. And but maybe we can. Maybe somebody's got a home movie out there from that district tournament or something. Somebody's parent with the over the camera shoulder thing. So, but yeah. Two pair, I know that Big Mike's probably got to run. You got anything else, brother, for our big brother here?
Yeah, man. Just I really I'm thankful to even know you, man. Like
Yeah,
seriously, you had such an impact on my life, and it definitely one of the guys that I'm very thankful to know in this world, man. Like you definitely you have a huge impact on me. Like one of the dudes that when I first got to West, like you know what I'm saying, embraced me. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to thank you just for, you know what I'm saying, spending some time with us, just talking old basketball memories, man.
Yeah, hey, that means a lot to me. I hope you know that.
I know this more about West, but we worked together at the movie theater. And shout out to Eric Carroll. He's watching. I actually sent him the link to this. And
Eric.
but I'll tell you this, like what Two Pair said, man, I could have been having one of the worst days ever, in my life. And I come to work and just to see you, and you'd make me laugh, or we would just laugh about something or talk about basketball, like the NBA game with the Kings and the Lakers and things like that back in the
Yeah,
day.
man.
I
I watched some games on those little
dude, this was circa 2001, 2002. And I'll tell you this, if you watched a movie back then, this guy probably was running the projector then at Windsong some nights or what have you. And but I just remember that time with you, me, Eric, and always, where are we getting food from today? And we would trade like movie tickets because we were poor. So we had to work out deals with like these other restaurants, and like we'd give them free movie tickets, they'd give us free food or whatever like that. Because when you're making $5.15 an hour, I mean, come on, $5.15 an hour.
But it was a fun $5.15 an hour. It was a fun.
Hey, but we did get free drinks and popcorn. We did get
right.
that.
Yeah,
so
all
there
the
you go.
popcorn you can stomach, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, man. I walked when I drove past that place and they shut it down. Our ghosts are there, man. Just like at West and so forth. And I'm better for knowing you, man. Honestly.
Yeah, and y'all are kind to say.
Anytime we can get together for lunch. I know you're busy. You got the family thing going. I've got the family thing going. But I would love to, if you could even come out for a game this year or next year. We'll make that happen. Honestly.
Oh man, I'd love to come out to a game with you guys. Listen, if they make it into West and we're playing in that region, I'll come down.
I'll text you. I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated.
I love what you're doing here, fellas. I think James told me we're both broadcasting majors. Let's keep this cooking. This is a good thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't stopping. We ain't stopping. So
YouTube's legit. And you know what, man? You're talking to people from a school that really care about the place, right? And I think that if you two keep this going, you can get some good people. If you ever want me to reach out to anybody else, I'm happy to do it. This has been fun. Yeah, it's been fun. I'd love just to talk about other sports with y'all, but I know this is West affiliated, so we can do that.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you this. If it grows, we could always, I could always create another YouTube channel. This StreamYard thing is 52 weeks a year and so forth. And obviously, with football coming around and, we're going for a three-peat. And
listen, now let me say this real quick.
Yeah.
That has been so much fun to watch because listen, when I was at West now, football wasn't hitting super hard. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't this, and so this has been a ton of fun to watch. So props to the just madness going on in that football program.
And I'll tell you, Mike, and I've stressed it before, if you've watched the other shows, it really is one West, from Lamar to his amazing staff to the support staff, like guys like me and Carrie, that we volunteer our time. We love it. The parents that are incredible, the businesses on Sutherland Avenue and in that community of Marble City. I mean, it really, and then the administration. You got to think about who was the administration at the time we were there. There was a couple that were all in and a couple that could care less about sports. Those are just facts right there.
Sure.
Sorry if I hurt people's feelings, but this group of administrators, they care about the athletics just as much as the academics and want all those kids to succeed. And that's where it starts.
It's just a beautiful thing to see, man. It's a beautiful thing to see. My goddaughter just graduated from there and was, I want to say she was the valedictorian. She's at Vandy now on a full ride. Listen, I mean, academically, the school is strong and has been strong. Another reason to be there. But yeah, no doubt. Love it. Look at that. You guys can see you getting more viewers every day.
Shane is our dude. He's a class of 03, huge supporter. He actually is like our behind the scenes guy. If we need a score or a stat, he looks it up and throws it to the chat, and I'll throw it up there, give him the credit. I mean, he's a good dude and so forth like that. So I love that guy. So
well, listen, guys, I appreciate it. And my last point is, I watched the Big O show. I haven't seen Big O in a little while, but he was talking about, the importance of the community and how we've sort of lost. BT, you were talking a little bit about this with him, is that loss of those mentors out there. And I think that you all being involved in the school as much as you are with these young men, giving them some folks that they can turn to when they need it. And we need to wrap that back around and become that. So if we can get Big O back in there, I would love to find some ways that we can do some things in the West community. Sutherland Avenue will always be a huge part of me. I know it's y'all. And so, the more you grow this and the bigger that you all do this, and I just love to see it. I just like to see young men getting out here, showing folks you can do what you love and be a positive influence and a good piece to the community. So I appreciate you guys and the folks like Big O and Terry. I thought Terry's episode was fun to listen to too, guys. Let's keep getting good people on here and keep promoting the wonderful things of West. This is what's up.
Yeah, and one thing that we'll ask you when you do talk to your dudes that and so forth, we didn't bite hard. You can come on. It's all good. So sure.
No, it's nothing but fun. No, and honestly, we're coming up on 25 years of this district win. So, I saw Andy Lane. I see him every once in a while in the summer out here at the pool. And Andy was talking about that. He's I would love to get all y'all back together and do this. So
let me tell you this, because you are saying that, I think Two-Pair and me can get in Romero's ear, the athletic director, because real quick, before you go, I just wanted to say this because they honored somebody that I don't even think you know of, Big Mike, but they honored Mr. Butch Wheeler, who was the West alumni class of 1968 Friday night. He actually has two major records with West. Most single season total points, 553, and he has the single game record of 53 points in a game. So, and so they honored him and his wife in the middle of the court. He's an elderly gentleman, but realistically, if we can take the time to honor a great West, and I salute Mr. Butch Wheeler. I wanted to give him props on this show, even though he may not know what it is, but I want to honor that team. Regardless if this team does the magic and joins you guys up there, the 25th anniversary should be celebrated next year with you guys. And if everybody's in town or could make it, on a Friday night, it would be amazing. So to do.
Yeah, man, I'd be happy to help you pull that together for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. So
that would be major.
That'd be major.
That'd be fun.
That'd be major. Like that team, man. That was just a great year of basketball.
It was fun, BT. It was fun, man. It was hard, but it was fun.
It was tough. Like conditioning. Oh my God.
I asked for 30. He gave us over an hour. I love you, man. Thank you so much, Big Mike. Thank you so much,
Well,
man.
thank you guys, man. I appreciate y'all.
You bet. You
All
bet.
right, be good, guys.
Take care. Go Rebels.
All right.
Man, Morrow,
How
like
good was that, man? How good was that?
favorite team. He's one of him, uh, Stu, Cash, Ka, if you know who this is, Kazra Talib Hagipur.
Yes, yeah, Yoshi's brother. So yeah, I mean,
Yo,
yeah,
bro,
Yoshi's brother. Because
yeah,
your star graduated with me. We were a year ahead. So yeah, but
yeah. So yeah, Cash. Like all of my teammates from that period. You know what I'm saying? Like spent like why guard trying to guard Spencer Davis or another guy, Keith Brown, who was really good, but he wasn't on that district team, or
mhm.
Aaron Kyle wasn't either, but they were good players that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you got practice, those are the guys you're gonna get. And man, Alton was so phenomenal. Troy was an incredible, just
Mhm.
like smooth, silky lefty. Stewart, just uh great leader, can be a general, could handle the rock. And I tell Stewart, me and Stewart, we talk about this all the time. Like, people forget how good his brother was, Ray Oaks.
Mm.
Like Stu is just Stu took what Ray got and polished it. You know what I'm saying? Like
And he was another multi-sport athlete. He was a golfer, great golfer. I mean,
great
goodness
golf.
gracious. I mean, that's another
Great,
guy that was a multi-sport athlete at West. So yeah.
like I tell I tell Stewart's pops. Stewart's pops is a big influence on my life. And I tell Stewart all the time that he's one of the most phenomenal student athletes, like smart. Like he sees stuff before it would happen, man. He's his dad and him, I hold them near and dear to my heart because they kind of were that family that got me to go to West, that showed me a different experience of a high school that, you know what I'm saying, we don't see that much coming from where I'm from, like
Mhm.
Mechanicsville's, the Lonsdales. His father up at the Boys and Girls Club is making it a better way for us to walk through the doors of West, man. And
Mhm.
like some of my best friends were made at West. Like Shane, I've been knowing Shane since 6th grade. You know what I mean? Like Shane, I've had gym class with Shane, football, basketball. I've known him my whole life. Like I've watched Shane's kids grow. You know what I mean? I've known you since my sophomore year.
Yeah,
No,
my sophomore year, your freshman year, when we were making fun of Bryce. So that's, but he brought it on himself because he made fun of us first. So that's the thing. So,
yeah,
but
I would have never. That's what I'm saying, man. Knowing you, like that's what I'm saying. Like West is that type of atmosphere where I wanted to play. I'm glad I got to experience football a little bit. I
yeah,
just wish I was in a better regime.
yeah, me too.
I,
Yeah.
I wish I was in. I wish I had what those kids had.
Do
Like,
you want to know something? I'm closer to the guys now than I was back then on the team. Does that make sense? It's almost like we had like group therapy, and it was like, I'm sorry that I was kind of a jerk to you or whatever. I think we were all going through our thing. We were all awkward. We were growing into our bodies and everything, and very headstrong kids, and so forth. And I think our generation is one of the best. I'm sorry, I do. Like we're the last of the ones that could go outside and play pickup or play neighborhood football and get tackled in the street, and then afterwards, hey, let's go get some orange juice and play some video games. Now everything is just inside doing this, and that's fine. That's their that's their thing. And I know that there's a lot of bad people out there that have caused that to happen, unfortunately. But, I think we lived in a great era. We did, and so forth, that you could play till, 9 or 10 o'clock at night when it finally got dark outside in the summer. And, just everybody got along. And the one thing, when I hope to have him on as a guest because, there's going to be that moment where I hope you ask me, James, who busted your ass or whatever like that. And I'm going to say it right now, it was Michael Lynn. So Michael Lynn busted my ass like I'd never been busted before. I thought it was rough getting tackled by Chris Ernst. Michael Lynn, he don't look like much, but let me tell you something. That's like Ivan Drago, in my opinion, just a quiet, silent killer, honestly. And he busted the Italian Stallion like I had never been hit before. And him and me are buddies. We talk all the time. He's a fan of the show and everything like that. And I hope to have him on because he was a fantastic player until a horrendous broken leg in a Halls game that he will talk about when we do have him on and so forth. And I also want his opinion on that panel of shows during the off season where we talk about great players, in West history in football and in basketball. We can have a panel of that, and
Yeah,
so
Mike.
well.
You know what? That linebacking core with Michael Lynn, Britton Leach,
Jimbo.
Rayleigh.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
oh no, and I give you another one, William Ergin.
You also had Tim Thomas, rest in peace, was on that. Even though he was really a defensive end in a 3-4 scheme, he would have been an outside linebacker. Sean Eccles. I mean, they had some dudes.
Stewart.
Yes, Daniel Stewart. He would have been in a 3-4 as an outside linebacker.
Stewart when we were at high school.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
There
good.
were some dudes, man. I mean, and they looked the part, honestly. Not only did they play the position, they looked the position as well.
Yeah.
Honestly. They were some dudes.
How good of an offensive lineman was Jason Day?
Oh God, yes. I mean, tight end too. He was the holder. He was so athletic. He was the place kicker holder. I've got one for you, by the way. Rest in peace too. He was another linebacker that would hit the crap out of you and lanky, but looked the part. Sadat Faust. I mean, my goodness. So rest in peace to him. I mean, my goodness. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to put Shane back on here, giving me flashbacks of some brutal practices. Absolutely. So, but no, I mean, you were asking Big Mike who busted his ass. I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, it was Michael Lynn for me, honestly, but realistically, I wish that we had a better regime too, and that's why I tell these kids now, I mean, you guys are, the Ryan Scotts, we can tell their praises, but they worked hard for everything. And it really was one West to get this thing done these last couple of years. And, I can't stress it enough, man. They are the Roman Reigns of 5A football. Haven't lost a regular season game in over 1,800 days. I mean, if you do the math or whatever, haven't lost a playoff game since, November 20-something of 2021. I mean, these are real things. I mean, they've lost to a 6A Maryville. They've lost to, 3A Alcoa. But, I mean, in 5A, they run the show. And until one of these teams prove otherwise, and that's where I want to get with basketball. I want to get in basketball to where, but here's the thing, there's so much talent. Like you said, though, Two-Pair, this district is a bloodbath with Bearden, with William Blunt. I mean, when you have a Farragut team with one win all year and it happened to be against us, I just don't know how that happens with the shooters and the coaching that they have over there. And they're going to be a dangerous team next year. I really believe that if you kind of start looking ahead of who's coming back and who isn't. And then we talked about Bearden's sophomore class that are just, they had 4 guys on the district, including King as well and so forth like that were on the district team for them. So, I mean, props to all those guys that were on the all-district team for that 4A. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what's crazy is the final score of Central and West has not been reported.
Are you serious? On Max Preps or Coach T?
Max Preps.
Oh man, we got to do something about that. So that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 77-42. I mean, here was the box
Dude,
score.
have it. You know what? We're gonna do this live. I'm gonna go ahead and report the score.
Yeah, do it. Please do. While you're doing that, I'm going to go on ahead and give the final stat line.
What was the final?
Okay, the final score was 77-42, West over Central.
42. Wow.
42, yes.
What do we have in quarter one?
Okay, I got that for you. Hold on one second. In quarter one, it was West 15, Central 9.
All right. So yeah, we're doing the live reporting of the score.
Okay.
Quarter two. What was in quarter two?
Well, quarter two, Central really actually put it on a little bit. It was only West 32, Central to 27 at halftime, 32-27.
Okay, 32-27.
Mm-hmm.
This was in quarter two action. So in quarter three, what do we have going on throughout?
All right, quarter three is when West really started to exercise their muscle. It was 58 West, 35 to Central.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we outscored them 26-7 or 26-8 in that third quarter.
Oh, 26-8 in that third quarter?
Yep.
It was 26-8.
Yeah, because it was 58-35 at that point.
So in quarter two.
In quarter two, that would have been let's see here, 17-18. So Central actually outscored West 18-17 in that second quarter. Yeah.
All right. And then in the fourth quarter,
West outscored them 19-7. It's almost like a football score or something. Shoot, so.
Wow. So it's 15-9 in the first quarter.
Yep.
And then you said it was 17-18 in the second.
Yes. Yeah. That was the only quarter that Central outscored West, cutting the 6-point deficit to 5 at halftime.
And so in the third quarter, they scored
26 for West and only 8 for Central.
Wow.
Yeah.
7-42.
Yeah. Yep. 77-42 was the final score.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and report it.
Yeah. And then here's the stats for everybody. Chris Cowan had 5 points.
Oh, let me see if they'll let me put up the stats.
Yeah, do it. I got all their names and I got points at least. So, yeah.
I was pending review, so I can't put it up.
Oh, gotcha. Well, and I sent it to you two pair just in case, and I'll resend it again. But Chris Cowan had 5 points. Jalen Hill had 1 point from his free throw, but he had a bunch of assists. Excuse me. Reese Clark had 20. Dane Britton, coming off of the injury, had 7 points, so it was nice to see him out there. Devin Martin had 13. Kevin Jack had 7. Joe Dupree had 6. Hunter Dance had 5. Robert Schuler 7. Kalu Fofana, did I say that correctly?
Kalu Fofana, the prince of Zemunda, the first descendant of the Zion tribe.
He had 2 points and shook a defender out of his shoes when he did it.
Yo, how nice is Kalu Fo? A young Lou. We're gonna call him Young Lou.
And he had and then he had the back-to-back champs in his corner rooting and yelling out, "He's a freshman. He's a freshman."
They literally were saying this
they were
in honor of Kaluuya.
They were already throwing roses to the prince. They were honoring the prince. So yeah.
Hey, it's not every day that we get a young Kalu Fofana and we get to nickname him the Prince of Zamunda.
Of Zamunda. David Sanders had 2 points. And then Sean Smith, who didn't even have a number on the roster, I had to look him up on JV. He had 2 points as well. So yeah.
I really think I think Sean Smith, Kalu, David, they are the future. This is where the experience helps him.
Yep.
You get in the game against Central to get a couple of buckets to, see what you are with the varsity guys. Because I'm going to admit, we're going to need a lot of Robert Schuler and Joe Dupree outside shooting.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Garrett Birch is going to be healthy.
I don't think so, man. That injury against Bearden was worse than I think. I mean, honestly, when he was down, it wasn't just like you turned an ankle. Like, it was bad, like how he got hurt. And that boot is up to his knee. I just don't think there's enough basketball time for him to get back. Like, it's different. With Dane, you saw a little bit of the cobwebs, but he was still in good, like his legs were good. His wrist was the problem. You know what I mean? You need your legs, and that includes your knees and your ankles. What about your back? Like what Big Mike was battling his senior year. You need that for this run. So I just hope that he can get back. But man, I just don't think there's enough time for him to get back the way that he was on the crutches the other day. So.
I think Dane is getting in sort of a rhythm.
Yep.
It's like, damn, you hate to see this as a senior,
Mm-hmm.
Like you hate to see it, but I just want him to give everything he has for this last run because I feel like that injury at Austin East robbed him so much of so much footage.
I'm going to tell you this too, Pair. If you also, we talked about, obviously we don't make excuses on this show. You beat us, we win, we play with what we got. But the way he hustled and how he can cover guys, with his height and how he moves, the defensive side of the ball was sorely missed with him, not only as a rim protector, but also somebody that, with his long arms can intercept passes in the passing lanes up top and around the key. I mean, he is just, it was really sad that we didn't get to see him before that game on Friday. And I hope he has a killer district tournament. I hope all these guys do,
Yeah.
and I want to give a shout out to somebody who kind of reminds me of a young Mike Morrow, to be honest with you. Dane Clark, the paper boy. He had a couple of big rebounds there at the end. I would have loved to have gotten him on the scoreboard and in the scorecard sheet, but his time's going to be coming, and he's about Big Mike's size. And, if he can, kind of go inside and outside and shoot the way Big Mike was, he could be another Mike Morrow in the future. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really love Dane Clark's game. I'm a big fan of Malik Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Who celebrated a birthday this past week.
Oh, happy birthday to him. Sure.
Yeah. And,
he got out there. He played the first quarter. I mean, that's the craziest thing. We played 15 guys. Not all of them scored, but, they contributed. I mean, Jack Keith had a couple of assists, I mean, if you didn't do it on the scoreboard, you were hustling and playing defense, getting boards. I mean, you definitely got out there. And even, Hunter Dance, 5 big points off the bench there. It was just amazing to see Schuler. I mean, I mentioned it to you, if he is faking people out of their shoes and driving in and laying it up and adding that repertoire to his game, you can forget it for next year, honestly.
I really think Robert Schuler. I think Robert Schuler is a phenomenal basketball player. Like, I think he's one of the smarter guys at using his jab step, and when he gets in that 3-point state, like when he's jab stepping you everywhere, like he's just getting you off balance, and he's one of the better guys at doing that. I think you got to find a way to get Schuler, Clark into like Jalen's got to push the tempo to get those guys out to make those transition threes, or to keep going high low with Kevin Jack. And shout out to Kevin Jack for the interview Friday.
Oh yeah. And shout out to Reese Clark. I mean, he's really come into his own. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this: the majority of those 20 points, brother, were literally at the in the first half. He didn't even play the fourth quarter because, as I have it in the in the at halftime, if I'm not mistaken, he had. Let me see here. I had it here a moment ago. He had 15 points in the first half. So he had only 5 in the third quarter because the game was out of reach that they took him out and rested him, which is what Coach Caporo, wisely did and should have done. But I mean, that's one of those games that if he had stayed in there, he probably could have had 30 or something like that. Honestly, the way he was shooting from 3, I mean, he was amazing.
Yeah, I really thought Reese came into his own, and that he's really been a scoring threat. When he's on, he is on. Reese Clark can get his shot about anytime he wants to. Reese Clark can get his shot anytime he wants to. He can shoot it in transition. He's a good rhythm shooter, and he also can get to the cup.
Yeah.
So that's what I like seeing out of this group, man, is the continued effort on defense, which the Central game, they played some great defense. Like that.
Oh, God. And I wish we would almost. I almost wish that I should have taken it in account how many transition buckets we got that game. I mean, it felt like we were running and they couldn't keep up. Two pair. I mean, they couldn't. So
yeah, they definitely could keep up with the tempo. We even got assessed a technical in the game.
How weak was that? Can you talk about that? By the way,
Might have been one of the weakest technicals in TSAA history. Like there was technicals handed out. Central's LeBrandon Marie, who was a former coach at West, and great Knoxville College basketball player.
Yep.
If anybody remembers, like LeBrandon Marie, he's one of the first white dudes I've seen at Knoxville College.
Wow.
At a historically black school getting buckets.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. He had got assessed a technical, and that's the first technical he's had in 24 years of coaching.
That's ridiculous. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and then our bench, shout out to Chad Brooks.
Yeah.
For what he said didn't deserve a technical. So that's what it was you got to call it both ways.
Yeah.
And if you look at what the call was at the time of what Chad said, I want to say this was early. Was this?
It was mid-second quarter with like 3 something to go. And at that point, West had already been assessed 7 fouls to Central's 1. And Central's just as physical as West is at that moment. Mm-hmm. And he pointed to the scoreboard and said, "Ref, look at the foul disparity." And it's the biggest ref, the bald dude, the biggest dude, the hulking guy, and he tees him up with the weakest. I couldn't believe it. I was like, but it got a spark from the team. It did get a spark from the team.
It's like you helped us out.
Yeah. And shout out to him because, he was just added as an assistant coach and right prior to the Bearden game. And he's brought a toughness to this team that I think was missing just a little bit because Brooks coaches the linebackers, if I'm not mistaken, for football. And anyway, it's just awesome to have him there, being a part of the team and just another valuable asset to Coach Caporo's staff, and they do great. Shout out to the assistant coach too. His name escapes me. Eggleston, is that his last name? Or
yeah, Coach Eggleston.
Tommy Eggleston, yeah. So shout out to him too, and so forth for sure. So I mean, two pair. If you looked at this this district, Maryville's the 1 seed, West is the 2 seed, Bearden's the 3 seed. William Blunt is the 4 seed, Hardin Valley's the 5, and Farragut's the 6. Obviously, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, William Blunt and Hardin Valley get it started off with the winner going on to face Maryville Thursday, and then Bearden and Farragut for the third time in just a short span of 2 weeks. Bearden's won those 2 games handily, even though the score didn't look like it. They just wore them down in the fourth quarter, but it's a rivalry game. It's not that far-fetched for Farragut to win that one, but at the same time, I'm expecting both Bearden and William Blunt to move on tomorrow night. What say you, sir?
Yeah, I really like what Bearden has.
Yeah,
William Blunt plays tough. Wendell, Caden Wendell for them, for William Blunt, he's one of the better players in the city, and I'd hate to run up against Nordine from Bearden,
who was all district. Yep.
And King Hubbard. I'd hate to run up
Another all district. Yep. So
Mahoney. You don't want to see William Blunt or Bearden. Bearden can go deep.
Mm-hmm.
Go deep into that bench.
Yep.
And they're well coached. I think they're really well coached.
And truth be told, I think they're going to be really wanting some blood because they know they let one slip a couple of weeks, against us that Saturday. And they're going to be wanting it. They're going to be wanting it. Now, me selfishly, West pulls this off for the first time in 24 years. They earned it, man. I mean, the hell with your bye or whatever, because one thing we didn't mention with the Mike Morrow group, you played 3 games in 3 days, pretty much, okay? Maybe there was a day in between, but you had to play 3 games. It was just a matter of where you were, 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7. Now they've made it to where it's 6 teams as opposed to 8 back then. But there were a lot less classifications. So the truth of the matter is that even if West is fortunate enough to beat Bearden for a third time and finally figure out the Maryville conundrum and beat them there or beat William Blunt a third time, they have earned that district tournament championship if they are to get it this year.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I mean, it's just a bloodbath. I personally, like I said, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the other side, but other than Oak Ridge, I just am not intimidated by the Powells or the Halls or the Carneses or the Centrals because West has, taken care of those teams and I think match up very well. Oak Ridge is a very formidable opponent. I mean, they gave Fulton everything they wanted, but Fulton ultimately got them taken care of a couple of days ago when they played. So, but I'm just saying, like, it's there for the taking. If West goes on this run and does what we think they can do, I mean, it would be a very special team to get, to the sub-state or something at this point, honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it can happen, and I think they're the class that can do it. It's just all about playing together and getting in a good, concise rhythm, pace and space, playing great defense, and just making timely shots and taking smart shots.
Yes.
A lot of times they settle for a lot of shots. It's like work that offense and don't settle. There's been a lot of times where you saw in that Central game, even though it was a blowout, there's some times where they settled. They had a heartbreaker against Hardin Valley. And so
yeah. No, and here's the thing. Free throws are key. They are leaving a lot of points out there missing free throws. And it's something that can be solved on your own time. Honestly, you don't need coach to, tell you to do it. That's you. If it's decent weather outside or, go to the gym and just throw up 50 free throws, see how many you can make in a row, because they're going to be huge. Every point is going to matter in these tournaments when it's win or go home. Now, granted, they get to go to the region regardless because of where they finished with the hard work of the regular season. But I don't want to be going to Oak Ridge in the first round. I don't. This team is way better than that. This team should be the one hosting from, just like the football team, from start to finish, with a right to go to Chattanooga for state, honestly. Because if you win the region, you get the sectional game at home. You don't have to travel to the Tri-Cities. So,
Right.
I mean, so it's there for the taking. You play your best basketball these next two games, regardless of who the opponent is. You can be at home. And how nice would it be to have all of Sutherland Avenue and the West support in those games, I mean, and us covering it right there, I mean, would be incredible, would be absolutely phenomenal to do. So,
Right. It definitely would. Definitely.
yeah. Yeah. Real quick, two-pair, because I know that we're running short on time, but I did have a couple of announcements. It looks like Carter has made their coaching decision, and they actually hired from within. It's their defensive coordinator named Todd Helton, no relation to the Todd Helton that just got elected to the Hall of Fame. But no, Todd Helton, he's been their defensive coordinator since 2022. So the team is familiar with him. I guess they may have been almost like a Coach Cummings hire, that they wanted to hire somebody from within that had been on staff, like when Rodgers left and Cummings took over, and kept the continuity there and go from there. So I really feel that basically, I just really think that they've made a very smart decision to keep it going in what they believe in and what they're trying to accomplish at the 4A level, and make the playoffs for another year and so forth, and maybe even get over that hump for a deep playoff run by keeping it in-house. So I wanted to announce that. And as far as I'm concerned, unless you've heard different, the only coaching position as of right now, unless anybody else decides to leave before now in August, is the AE job. And I don't know if Austin East has made a decision. I'm sure. I mean, like I said, subscribe to 5-Star Preps and Prep Extra. You would think they would post that if it's happened. But as far as I'm concerned, nobody has accepted that position. And I don't know if anybody's even been offered it. But they are the only team in this area without a head coach. And spring practice is very soon of happening, and you already are with a month and a half into winter workouts, where the off season is where it's won. What you do in that weight room and your conditioning outside and running and so forth. And it's I don't know who's leading those young men, but I hope somebody's doing something with them, because that's really not fair to them at this point. So
Absolutely.
I hate that for them. So Super Bowl, great game. It didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but props to the Chiefs. That's 3 Super Bowls now for Mahomes, and they did what they had to do to win. Sorry if I'm biased for anybody that's in the older crowd, but I absolutely loved Usher. I thought he absolutely killed it. Everybody he brought on stage brought it, the dancing, the songs. I mean, it was a fun 13 and a half minutes. What say you two?
I wanna say this though, Jermaine Dupri, that was a horrible fashion choice.
What was that? Was he trying to go for the skilo look or what with that? I mean, my God.
That wasn't one of your best efforts. You let all of Atlanta down with that one.
He did, man. I mean, yo, welcome to Atlanta where the players play. I mean, come on now.
Let all of Atlanta down with that one, boss. Boss. I don't care if them socks was Louis Vuitton socks, boss, and horrible, boss. But no, the game was incredible.
Yeah.
For the simple fact, San Francisco, you had your chances to nail the coffin, and he just didn't put the nail in the coffin at all. Like, San Francisco had their chances, man.
Yeah, they did. And that report about the players didn't understand the overtime rules. I mean, that just can't happen.
That's a load of crock.
Yeah, that's I just say you just die on your sword. And can I just say this, man? I was watching the the defense of the 49ers, and I know that they were absolutely gassed there at the end. I mean, you basically played 5 quarters of football, pretty much there at the end and so forth. And I don't care how conditioned you are, the highs and lows, the waiting around between the anthems at the beginning, the halftime show, the commercials, whatever. My point is, though, as I watched San Francisco's goal line defense not succeed against, I have to give even more props to that West team for how they had 2 goal line stands against Page, and somehow held on for back to back, because I mean, it just is a will and testament to those guys. I mean, you go back and watch that last 6 minutes in the fourth quarter of that Page West football game. I mean, the defense, Ryan Scott, all those guys were absolutely incredible in that moment. And you know what I would love for us to do too, Pear? I would love for us to get that game on TV, and you and me each with a microphone calling it, like the play-by-play and the the color analyst or whatever, just of how we would call it if we were broadcasting the game from like that West perspective. You remember? I don't know if the NCAA tournament does this or not, but do you remember that they had like the neutral CBS announcers that would call the Final Four, and then you'd have the home teams like they'd have like, I don't know, somebody from Kentucky that was homers calling the game on TBS, and then whoever was the other opponent, their homers were calling it. Well, we'd be those West homers calling that game, and I would love to see what we would say compared to whatever the broadcast was from the TSSAA guys or what have you that were supposed to be neutral. So yeah,
that'd be dope, man.
Yeah. Shane put AE as a hard job football wise. The fans want immediate results, but most players who grow up there in the youth end up playing elsewhere in the county. Props. Yeah. Preach. They really do. They really do. So it is the hardest job in Knox County, but if you make the right hire and get the community to buy in and be a little bit patient, and take on that challenge, like what Big Mike was talking about, these mentors or what have you, the right mentors are in there to get those young men going. I mean, you could keep those guys at home too, where they're not going anywhere else in the county, because there's a boatload of talent out there, and basketball, football, whatever, they're athletes, and I pray that they get a good coach to help them, because things are more fun when they're competitive in football and basketball. So yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Two Pair, do you got anything else, man? I'm going to try to be out there Friday night in Maryville for the game, especially one way or another, because any chance I get to see this team live, I really enjoy watching them, and I don't want it to end, but I know that it ends for all of them. It just depends on what side of the end you're going to be, and even if you're hoisting the trophy up, it still ends for everybody. So regardless of what that trophy is, district, region, sub-state, and obviously state. So, but
That is very true.
yeah, but next week we'll be on at normal time. Might have another guest. I'd love to have another guest, and maybe we are talking about a district championship. Either way, we'll recap the district and be talking about who we're playing in the region, whether we're at home or on the road. We'll take all that come Wednesday, so at 9:00 next week. So yeah,
Definitely, we're back on. The boys will be back.
yeah, they will be. So. All right, Two Pair. Well, listen, we'll end every show like we always do, throwing up that W, because you know where it is. It's all about them Runnin Rebels. We wish you boys good luck. Leave it out there on the court, guys. Leave it out there on the court. And for all you Rebels at home, keep doing your thing. Love one another. Keep being rebels with a cause. I'm the I-Talian Stallion. Two Pair, I'll let you close us out, brother.
All right, man. We up out of here like last year. Love, peace, and chicken grease, and now they don't step on them shoes.
Go Rebels.